to like block, you're going to block his IP address,
Yes.
not his MAC.
Not his MAC address.
Block the MAC altogether.
Yes, it's possible.
Maybe that'd be better because some people try
to find a way to, yes, it's better you just block the MAC address instead. Because the best thing is if they are smart enough, they will find a way. All right. For those online, I'm sorry for the little break. We'll add a glitch. So welcome back. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me know. So I was talking about the MAC address earlier, right? So I said the MAC address is a unique identifier that comes with your devices, right? Every device, like I did, I use myself as an example. My name is John, but I can go somewhere else and they give me another name. But my name remains John. John would never change. The other name that is being given to me now is called an IP address, which anybody in that particular place, they call me that name now, they can reach out to me, okay, this guy here, Johnny, this is his name here at this particular time. If I go to another location now, they give me another name. Is it clear? So it said MAC addresses and delivery type. The MAC address identifies a device network interface at layer 2 used for local delivery. I said the MAC delivery, local delivery, then it uses an IP address. So moving on, in layer 2, there was something there, the ARP, right? ARP. ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. It helps to resolve an IP address to a MAC address. What it does now, it maps a MAC address, a citizen's MAC address, to an IP address. Is it clear? This is it, for instance. This is a switch, right? This is a switch. This is a cable. That means this is layer 1. This is layer 2, right? And this is a router, layer 3. Altogether. So once I connect this to this now, from the layer 1, the system to this switch, right? A table is being created. The table is called a MAC address table. Sorry, I'll get back to this. So once the data, the physical layer now, the cable is connected to a switch connected to the system now. A table is created called the MAC address table. This MAC address table now consists of two things: port number and MAC address. Let me see, this is port number now. This is port number 8. The MAC address comes here. MAC address look like this. 2, 3. Altogether. So once I'm done with this now, and I want to connect this to the router, which is layer 3 now, a table is now created called the ARP table, which is address resolution table, that maps an IP address to a system's MAC address. So this MAC address now comes here, MAC address. This comes here now. Then IP address comes here, and IP address is assigned to this 192.168.1.2. Is it clear? All together, right? So this IP address now is used for addressing. I want to send the traffic now from my system. My system is system 1 on the network, and I have 500 systems. That data or traffic from system 1 to system 200. What else to me is this IP address. It doesn't use this MAC address anymore. It uses IP address that is assigned to that system. All together. Is it clear? Questions? Look at me like saying something strange. Let me break it down. Are we good with this? All right. So let me say this is a typical network. I have a router here, right? I said router is used in connecting multiple networks, right? And I come here, this is a router. Here now, I have one network here, switch. Grace, what switch used for? Eh? What you say? Switch is used to connect what? No. Yes. No. No. Any other person? Hey. Mr. Prince, the switch is used for what? Multiple what? So a switch is used to connecting multiple devices. So you know it. Right? So we have a switch here. Then we have our devices. Right? Right. Altogether. This is one PC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? All these are called subnets. I broke my network into two different networks. So the IP address that I'll be giving to them will be different. It's what we call a gateway IP, which I'll explain moving on. A gateway IP. Let me say this gateway IP now. This particular gateway IP on this router is 192.168.1.0. Here is 192.168.2.0. Right? Every device is on this first network. Let me say this is network 1, N1, and N2 altogether, right? Every device on this network, this first network now, will have these same first three numbers. These numbers are called octets. Do you know why it's called an octet? Anybody? Do you know why it's called an octet? It has 8 bits. Right? You may not, I'm going to explain. I'm just trying to explain the communication, how it routes information. Right? So every system now here on this first network, these first three numbers. This first three numbers stands for the network's address. Let me say NA. Then this last one here is the host address. So if this gateway address is 192.168.1.0, this system now becomes 192.168.1.1. This one becomes 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, so on, moving on. No. This other one now becomes here becomes 2.1. Sorry. 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Right? So I want to send traffic from here to here. This is system 8, this is system 1. What the network layer does for me now is this router, which is the network layer, the routing layer now. It routes information from here to here, the IP address. Is it clear now? Any question? So moving on, I will still come back to this, right? All right, so it said the MAC address. This is how a typical MAC address looks like, right? And delivery types: unicast one-to-one, broadcast one to everyone on the segment, multicast a group, a selected group means a selected group of systems I want to send information to. Broadcast is one system to every system on the network. Why unicast is just between one-to-one system, pair to pair. Is it clear? All right. Then switching said how a switch learns and forward. A switch builds a MAC address table so it knows which device sits on which port, which I just explained. I said once the first cable is connected to the switch and connected to the system now, a MAC address table is created, right? On that MAC address table now, we have the MAC address port numbers. Is it clear? Example of the MAC address table, just like this, MAC to ports. This is an example, MAC 1. Port 1 has this address, port 2, just like that. So the ports are completed on the switch. It said, learn the process. Read the source MAC plus port records in the table. Check the destination MAC. Forward to the right port or flood it unknown. Is it clear? So moving on, that there are also attacks on this. It's called MAC spoofing, meaning I'm pretending to be somebody's MAC address on the table. I don't know what spoof before. Spoof. What's spoof?
It's like hacking, or no? It's like hacking.
Yeah, kind of spoofing.
You assume somebody else's
Pretending to be somebody. Yeah? Pretending to be. So you hear the word spoofing, meaning I'm pretending to be. Okay, so when I say MAC spoofing, that means I'm pretending to be somebody's MAC address. My system is pretending to be somebody's MAC address on the network. That means if traffic is supposed to go to that system, it's coming to me. You, sir. All together. So, any question before I move? Questions? So I can ask questions. All right. Then switching and security. See, attackers abuse the local switching environment through MAC flooding, like I said before. This MAC flooding now, it's flooding the network with so many MAC addresses. So they can pick one port there, put their system. What I do now, I'm an attacker. I flood the network, I intercept the network. I flood it with so many MAC addresses. I just flood the network MAC address. And when a port is being given to my MAC, that particular MAC, any of my MAC address, I intercept it. I can even carry out a man-in-the-middle attack from there. I talked about man-in-the-middle attack in the previous class, intercepting communication between systems. All right. Then MAC spoofing, yeah? Yes, eavesdropping. Then MAC spoofing, like I explained, pretending to be. Then we have rogue devices. Then VLAN hooping. VLAN are virtual local area network. Moving on, we'll still talk about these attacks. Still have them down. Then defenses, port security. We talked about ports, right? What are the total numbers of ports?
65,535.
What's the range for registered ports?
Registered ports, that was, I remember the last one was 41,000, something. I remember.
41,000.
It was
41,000.
Yes,
Wrong.
49,000.
You did it. Right? So those ports now, you need them to be protected, right? If you're, I think we'll talk about port scanning when we did an intro. Yeah, this is how it works now. I'm the attacker. I take my system now, use my Linux, my Kali. I run what's called an nmap scan just to see open ports, systems that has open ports on the network, right? If your system has an open port, it's advisable you close the ports because most of those ports are exploitable. I can carry out a scan now and find, okay, all the ports in your system, or some ports on your system are open, but they are not exploitable. I will keep trying, but I can't exploit them. An example of that port is SSH. If an SSH port is open on your system, it's very difficult to exploit unless I carry out a brute force attack, trying to crack your password and all that. You know what's SSH, right? I talked about SSH in our last class. I did. Secure shell. It's in the material. When you go back, when you do your revision, it's there. Secure shell that allows remote communication. Connection, sorry. Remote connection to a different system. I want to connect to your system now. I use SSH, the protocol. It allows me to remotely connect to your system using a port called port 22. Same well-known port. Right? But it's not just, it can't be exploitable because it's secured. The only way I can exploit it is carrying out a brute force attack, trying to crack in. It's like this door is locked and I'm trying to force my way in, trying different keys. Is it clear? And we have VLAN segmentation, which is breaking down your network into smaller networks. So it will stop lateral movement of attackers. Is it clear? If I break my network now, I have a very large network, break it down into smaller networks. It will be difficult for an attacker to move from one part of the network to another part of the network. Altogether. Then we have DACN snooping. This CN, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, it allows a system to automatically connect to a network, or an IP address is assigned to a network, to a system automatically. An example of that is your internet and your system. When you connect to a Wi-Fi, right? It automatically assigns an IP address for you. Altogether, we're going to do a little practical after this. I'm going to show you guys how this works, okay? So DHCP snooping is trying to snoop to see which network is open. I can just start in my system and automatically assign an IP address for me. So to stop that now, I have to put some security in place. An example of that security, password. I have a password on your Wi-Fi that if anybody wants to connect, it requires them to authenticate themselves, authenticate the system before connecting to the network. Is it clear?
Someone asked me to come again with what's SSH.
If I answer it no. Answer it no. Then dynamic ARP inspection. This is automatically inspecting ARP MAC address and IP address, which of them is mapped together. For a system now, it's mapped. A MAC address is mapped to an IP address. ARP inspection is actually checking them automatically to see, okay, right, like your Linux system now, there's a scan you can run, an ARP scan. If you run an ARP scan, you see, okay, this system MAC address is assigned to this IP address. Altogether, any questions? All right. When ARP, I said ARP is Address Resolution Protocol, which helps you resolves IP address, right? So what it does now, I think this already, it maps an IP to a system's MAC address. So it said host knows the destination's IP, but Ethernet delivery needs a MAC address. It said ARP resolve one to the other. The question, broadcast, who has this IP? The answer, the IP address is at this MAC address. Is it clear? Let me say, okay, this system now, this system, which IP, which MAC address is this? I'm able to see it. Because using the IP address, I'm able to. So SSH is secure shell. Let's go back. Sorry, those online that don't need to go back. So SSH, secure shell. Uses port 22. Port 22. It allows secure remote connection. Right? But there is a previous version of this. It's called Telnet. Telnet, which is port 23. So it's a previous version of SSH. It allows remote connection also. But it has some vulnerabilities, so they stopped using it. Started using SSH. Altogether. All right. So he said the question, who has 192.168.120.1.20? Said the IP address is at the system's MAC address stored in the ARP cache for next time. The ARP cache is a temporary storage where those ARP, the MAC address, everything is saved. In case of next time, the system wants to connect to the network. Okay, it's already there. Is it clear? So you say ARP does not verify who's answering. That's what makes ARP spoofing possible. More in common network attacks. We'll talk about it moving on. Then IP addressing, which I've already talked about, right? So we have two versions of IP addresses. We have the IPv4 and the IPv6. The IPv4 is a 32-bit IP address, while the version 6 is IPv6 is a 128-bit IP address. What it means now, an example of the V6, just like this, V4, sorry. One 192.168.1.1. This is a typical example of an IP address, IPv4. Right? It has 32 bits. What it means is each of these has 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? You know, computer days then, they said computer languages, zeros and ones. This is what it means. What your computer sees is this. Your computer does not see this altogether. So each of these now, 8 bits, is calculated, it gives you 32. Right? So this IPv4 address now, the total numbers globally approximately is 4.3 billion. And systems across the world is more than 4.3 billion, true or false? So they created V6 as a supplement altogether. Like, okay, this V4 is there, V6 supports it because it's not enough for systems around the world altogether. So the V6 now has 128. To calculate this to get the total numbers, actually, it's 2 raised to the power of 32. It gives you the total number of IP address globally, right? V6 is the same thing, 2 raised to the power of 128 bits, the number of bits. Is it clear? All right? So, say what's an IP address? An IP address gives a device a logical identity on the network. 4 8-bit octets makes up a 32-bit IPv4 address. So IPv4 equals to 32 bits, just like what I explained. Right? 4 octets times 8 bits equals to 32 bits. While V6, 128 bits, this is how it looks like. So the newer, the larger address space. Right? So every system has a V6 and V4 altogether. All right. Any question? Before I move ahead. Any question? And the next thing we talked about is subnetting. So subnetting is splitting a big network or a large network into smaller network, right? So it said an IP address has 2 parts, network and the host. Say subnetting splits one large network into smaller ones, right? And there's what we call a subnet mask, right? A subnet mask is used to tell you what class of IP address is either a class A or a class B or a class C. We'll still talk about it. We have about 5 classes of network, but the most common ones are the class A, class B, and class C, right? To identify this network now, we use a subnet mask. A subnet mask looks like an IP address. Like for a class C, which is the most used IP address, class C is 255.255.255.0. What the subnet mask now tells you on that IP address or on that network tells you now this portion that has 255.255.255 here is the network add portion, and this is the host portion. Is it clear? Altogether? All right. Then the class B now looks like this: 255.255.0.0, meaning these zeros now is host, this network. Then class A, 255.0.0.0, meaning yeah is host, yeah is network. All together. And there's one other thing called the CIDRO notation, right? The CIDRO notation tells you the total numbers of bits, yeah, the total numbers of bits in the network portion of an IP address. The CIDRO stands for classless interdomain routing notation. Hope I'm not using too much grammar for you. CIDR, classless interdomain routing. Classless interdomain routing notation, right? It tells me that this class C, right, which is 255.255.0/24. If you see an IP address like this, it tells you that okay, this network portion has 24 bits. Is it clear? This now will be how many? Help me. This will be how many? If this is 24, this will be how many? Calculate it down. Let's do the math. 16. Because this is 8 bits, this is 8 bits. So see, this idea that tells you the total numbers of bits here. That, okay, this is 16. Then this will be 8, so this is /8. All together? All right. So we say reading it, like what I just explained there. You can see this IP address on my screen here, right? You can see 192.168.1.10/24. You can see the subnet max, a class C. So it's telling me that this IP address now is a class C IP. Altogether, he said the 24 shows how many bits are in the network portion. He said why it helps: better organization, IT, HRO, finance, guests, smaller brokers domain, improved performance and security. Why does this breaking down my networks helps me? It helps me check, okay, different departments, different subnets. Like what I drew the other time now, I put here a router. I can just spread out, okay, this particular network now is for HRO. This particular network is for our marketing departments and all that, business department and all that, business organization. Is it clear? Any question? Any question? All right. And private range and default gateways. The private range IPs, okay. These are the different types of or classes of IP and the ranges. So the class A, this is range from 0 to 10.1. So if you look at it now, like what I just did there, you can see /8, telling me that okay, this is class A, class 16/16, class B /24, class C. It said note, routable on the public internet. So we have two types of IP. We have the public and the private. The public is not routable on the internet. The public is routable on the internet, sorry. The private is not routable on the internet. The private is what you see within your local area network, within yourself at home, right? On your office. While the public is routable on the internet, anybody on the internet can see it. Is it clear? It's like my name now is Prince. When I go outside, they call me the Royal Majesty. Altogether, everybody is Royal Majesty. But when I come home, everybody call me Prince. Is it clear? All right. So he said default gateway is usually the router where a host sends traffic bound for outside its own network. Like I explained, the router gateway, which I drew here the other time. On the router now, each of this network has a gateway IP. Then moving on, that the NAT, we're talking about the NAT. The NAT is network address translation. It's what translates your public IP, your private IP to a public IP. Altogether. So it says network address translation lets many private devices share one public IP address how it works. Your private IP now, it goes through a NAT, then public IP. Everybody can use the private IP, but not everybody will use the same private IP. Is it clear? Then it say why it's used. It say conserves public IP v4 addresses, hides internal addressing. NAT is not a firewall. It doesn't enforce security policy. And moving on to data transmission from one system to another system, which is the transport layer, right? We talked about UDP and TCP. What did I say was TCP? Mr. Prince. Don't tell me. Eh? Okay, what's TCP? What's TCP?
Transfer control protocol.
Transfer? No. Want to try?
Transmission.
Transmission control protocol. Yeah? These protocols are protocols that allows transmission of data, transverse of data between two systems. You want to send something to him now. It uses any of these protocol. So the TCP now is connection oriented, meaning if he tells you hello, you tell him hi, communication continues. While UDP now, he tells you hello, you start telling him your problems. That's just how it works. So there's where I always tell my students, there's in my own kind of definition, that TCP has manner, while UDP is mannerless. Because I'll greet you good morning, you respond to me good morning, say hello, I say hello, keep communication. Right? In UDP now, the reason I say mannerless is I tell you hello, and you start telling me your problem. My grandfather swallowed shovel, I did and all that. Information that I don't really need or I need it. Is it clear? So, example of platforms that uses a UDP, like I said, your Netflix, your gaming, video streaming, and all that. You don't communicate with your Netflix, do you? What do? You watch movie. Once you just log in, you just look for a movie and start watching, right? Start streaming. But UDP now, like WhatsApp, for instance, now, right? I can communicate with you. I can send you a text and you keep communication. But WhatsApp, for instance, now WhatsApp uses both because on WhatsApp you can video call, right? I can video call you. That's UDP.
But like on video calls, it's still both same.
But you are like streaming. If internet goes off, while you are sending to the person, that stopped. You have to continue, start again from beginning. But TCP now, right? If I send you a message, it goes, right? Network or anything will not change whatever information I've sent to you. But on video call now, if I call you on video and it's interrupted, I will have to call again and restart. Is it clear? That's why it's UDP. Is it clear now? All right. So, little assignment. Although maybe I'll drop it on the group, but little assignment for those that are here. Difference between TCP and UDP. It has lots of differences, right? But I think I've given you guys one already. One is connection oriented, and the other is not connection oriented. Okay, what it means? All right.
The full of TCP and UDP.
Sure.
Thank you. So you said the ARP means what?
Address Resolution Protocol.
Address resolution protocol.
Yes. So TCP, transmission, control protocol, and UDP, user datagram protocol.
Data what?
Datagram. So the TCP, which is reliable delivery, like what I just explained now, if I send you a message and we keep coming, it's nothing will happen. Even if the internet interrupted or the network was interrupted, it will still go to you. right? And we can still communicate, continue from where it was interrupted. So it said TCP is connection oriented, reliable, and ordered. Used when delivering Used when delivery must be guaranteed. HTTPS, SSH, SMTP. We all know what's HTTPS, right? I think I've talked about that already.
You're saying TCP is like more than UDP.
Yes, because your information is delivered to you 100.
So this one is the one that has
And that,
has manners.
yes, TCP has manners.
Manners,
And that's why and UDP is mannerless, right? TCP, right? It does error checking. There's any error before it delivers to you. UDP does not do error checking.
So sorry, again, UDP is the one they use for gaming.
Yes, live streaming. Okay. All right. So moving on. Is that TCP okay? Then the TCP has a three-way handshake. The three-way handshake is sign, sign arc, and acknowledge. So what it does now, the client, which is the sender, is synchronized and sent to a server. The server is synchronized and acknowledged and sent back to the client, and the client acknowledges it. Is it clear? It's like I want to communicate with this man now. I say, sorry, what's his name? Professor. I say, Professor, hello, tell me I. We keep communication. He acknowledges my I, he synchronizes it and responds to me. Is it clear? That's how TCP works. You use a three-way handshake, and this is the three-way handshake: send, synchronize, acknowledge, and acknowledge. Is it clear? Right? Then reliability features. How is it reliable? Sequence numbers, acknowledgements, retransmission, and flow control. Meaning, conversation continues. We keep talking. Any question? If I move. All right. Then UDP. So UDP fast and connectionless. The reason it's fast because it does not do error checking. It just gives you the information. Boom. Is it clear? Just gives you the information like that. It does not do error checking. And it's very fast. So it said UDP is connectionless and lightweight with no built-in delivery guarantee, lower overhead, but best effort. Used by DNS. All right. Used by DNS, DHCP, voice over IP, streaming, and online gaming. DNS is domain name system. It converts your URL into an IP address. All right. Then DHCP, I think I've explained that already. Automatically assigns IP address on a network. Is it clear? All right. And difference between the TCP, sorry, versus UDP. Said, okay, the assignment I gave is here. So let's just go through it. So it said TCP is connection oriented. UDP. Yes, in your way of understanding, you can just bring it up. So UDP is connectionless. TCP is reliable. UDP tries, gives you best effort. And TCP is ordered. UDP, no ordering guarantee. TCP, more overhead. UDP, lower headed. TCP is slower. The reason it's slow is because of that error checking. Check for every error. So it takes time.
Sorry, when you say more overhead, what do you mean?
It comes with every information, every encapsulated data. Is it clear? Nothing is missing. Let's get that. Then TCP is slower. Then UDP is faster because it does not do error checking. It just gives you use this information. Direct. Thank you. So he said attackers abuse both for scanning, flooding, exploitation, C2 and data exfiltration. Quick question, what's C2? I know this is our last class.
Control. This one C2.
Okay. Sorry to take us back to our previous class, right? What is the seventh stage of the kill chain?
The stages of cyber killing, some stuff.
Those were my class. We have reconnaissance, we have weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and action on objectives. So what is C2? Thank you very much. So C2 now is command and control. That's what an attacker would do. Using any of these protocols, they get access to your network. Is it clear? All together? All right. And moving on, next one we'll talk about here is ports and services. I think I talked about ports already, right? I said port is like a door, it gives you access to communication within systems, right? I want to talk with this guy now, or I want to visit a platform. A door, I need to pass through a door to get access to that platform. I want to access the web. I use 80 or 443 in accessing the web, right? The services now are those protocols: HTTP, SSH, DNS, FTP, SMTP. We'll talk about them here. I'm just mentioning different services. VPN, it's different. It does not use a port. And yeah, VPN does not use any ports now. It's a service that protects my group, whatever I'm doing on a network. A secure tunnel. If you just protect me, okay, this is where I'm going to, it just protects me. That's VPN. Right. So moving on, we'll talk about common ports and protocols or services. So you say, what's a port? You say an IP identifies the host, a port identifies the service. So IP equals to building, port equals to a room, right? So like, with this full building now, there's one room there. I go there. That room now becomes a port that gives me access to whatever service. I also call it a door because it's what opens for me, or it is closed. I have to find a way to get through it. You're looking at me strange. Yeah? Or moving on, talk more about it. So the port and the services now, we have port 22 for SSH, port 25 for SMTP. SMTP is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol that allows you send mails. Is it clear? Then what's for mail receiving? It's not there. Then we have the ones for mail receiving. We have POP3, we have IMAP. POP3 is Post Office Protocol. Uses port 110. Right? All right. Then port 53, which is DNS, domain name system, that converts your URL into an IP address. Then port 80, HTTP over the web, which is unsecured. Then 443, HTTPS, which is secured. And we have 445 SMB. The protocol I'm missing it up, but SMB is for also uses.
You have to come back again because once I want to understand this, like the secure and the
Okay, the secure and the unsecured one.
yes, yes.
The secured and the secured one, meaning this HTTP now that is not secured, whatever you're doing there, every conversation will not be encrypted. It does not have an encryption, right? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Whatever you are doing on that, okay, let me see, if it's a website now that's www.grace.com, and you find out that Grace, there's no security on the website, I'm just using your name, sorry. Right? There's is HTTP, meaning whatever you're doing there is not encrypted. Over data, transmission of data, it's not secured, meaning you're at your own risk. Question? Why HTTPS now? Whatever you're doing, your communication, transfer of data is secured. Yeah. Then we have 3389, which is for RDP. RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol.
So SSH is the shell.
Secure Shell. For 22. It's secured. You see the name there, Secured Shell.
Okay, then
SMTP is secured.
okay.
DNS is secured.
It's only
HTTP here that is not secured. They also have FTP, File Transfer Protocol. Then we have SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol. You know, the FTP now uses port 21. So he said, why ports matters to security? He says security analysts looking at an open port asks key questions. Is this service required? Is it exposed unnecessarily? What software is running? Is it vulnerable? Is the traffic legitimate? But if it's an attacker will look for a way to exploit those ports. But security analysts now will be asking, this port that is open on this system, why? Is it necessary? Does it have vulnerability? Can it be exploited? So like, for instance, now I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and I do my scan vulnerability analysis, and I find out SSH is open. That doesn't mean it can be exploited, or it is brute forced. But I do my analysis and I try to do my finding, and I find out, okay, it's needed. That's why it's opened. That someone is trying to use that service. So it needs to be open. Basically, RDP, the same thing. RDP is secured, remote desktop protocol. So if I do my analysis and I'm like, okay, this particular port, it's a registered port, right? And it's open. Somebody's using it for a particular service. When I find open, do a scan or do my analysis and I find that that telnet is open on a system 23, which is not secured. It has vulnerability. What I do, I remediate it, find a solution in fixing it, close that port. Is it clear? All right.
Sorry.
Question?
I have a question. Why is it that some ports will not show closed or will show ignored? Like,
It's on ignored state, meaning it's not opened. It's not opened. You've done a map scan before? You've done the scan before? Using which tool? Which tool did you use?
I need to
Nmap. Right. Did you scan the entire port or did you just scan for 1,000 ports?
I scanned for
All the
I tried
ports.
different kinds of commands.
Okay. Because there are some you use those, if you use just aggressive scan or use service version, it scans just 1,000 ports. If you use P as the argument, it scans the entire 65,000 ports. All right. Please don't mind me. I think this person has gone for the kind of question he asked. All right. So next thing we're talking about is DNM, domain name system, which translates your URL or a host name into an IP address. So we said that what's DNS? DNS translates human readable names into IP address, the phone book of the internet. We said example, user type google.com. DNS resolves it to, so the server now, they don't see this google.com anymore, they see this IP address. Is it clear? That's what DNS does. Which port does DNS use for this? I said it just now. Thank you, 53. Altogether. Now you see how these things work. They use both the service. The service now uses ports to work altogether. So resolution flow, say user with DNS resolver goes through the DNS server, changes to an IP address, user connection, then goes to user connections to destination. Is it clear? Any question? No. Then records and security. Say common records. A host name goes to, so DNM records is, unlike your DNS cache, it's temporary. DNS records keeps records of these translations. Is it clear? All right. So common records, a host name, which is your URL, so an IP address, an IPv4 address, AAA host name, VCS address, MX mail server, CNAME, which is an alias given to the URL. Altogether. Is it clear? And DNS can be abused for DNS spoofing, meaning somebody is pretending to be an attacker. DNS tunneling, somebody is trying to find a way, a means to get access to the DNS records. Malicious domain, let me say, google.com, a good domain. A malicious domain is an attacker creating his own domain just for malicious act. What it does now, you are trying to get access to google.com. The attacker creates a malicious domain that it looks like Google's domain. If you click on it now, it redirects you to that malicious domain. Is it clear? Then C2 communication, command and control communication, trying to move around the system and network and all that. Any question? Question? DHCP, we talked about this already. What do you know about DHCP? DHCP. If help me check if it's upside down.
Like your face.
Yeah,
No.
straight back. What's the street?
What is so? I'm hearing this.
I know what I would like. I need to remove the light for I think.
Sure.
I'm hearing sound. I'm hearing the sound.
Come on.
Is there any issue if it's connected?
You show me this is what the first one.
I'm hearing you. Did I hear it from here? Mute this thing, please. Mute it. Mute it. Is it up to the security? It's not nonsense.
On a network. Right? So it said DHCP, which is automatic configuration. The DHCP automatically hands a client its IP address, a subnet mask, a default gateway, and DNS server. So this is what a DHCP gives to you. Immediately you connect a system to a network, and the network has a DHCP server. A DHCP server offers you these things: an IP address, a subnet mask, a default gateway, and a DNS server. Altogether. So we said, remember this, DORA: discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. What it means is, once you connect a system to a network now, DHCP server now discovers that system, offers it this, an IP address, subnet mask, then responds to its request, which is you can now connect to me, right? And give an acknowledgement. Yes, this system is part of this network. Is it clear? Then security risks. Why is this DHCP? Why is there's a risk there? What could be the security risk? A rogue DHCP server hands out bad configuration. A rogue DHCP server is a DHCP server who is on the network that gives this same information but for malicious purpose. To give you a fake IP address instead of the one that's supposed to be on the network. Is it clear? Right? So it said DHCP starvation exhausts available addresses. Then the defense to stop these security risks is DHCP snooping, which is a security measures on a DHCP server that prevents a DHCP rogue from coming into the network. Is it clear? Right? So moving on.
So that DORA.
Dora, this is what it means. You should also remember this. What DHCP offers to you: discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. Okay? Then the next part is the routing basic. How does this traffic route on the internet, on the network, sorry? You know, on the layer 3 now, which is the network layer, which is the routing layer, where the router comes in. Information is being routed from one system to another system using the IP addresses, MAC addresses, so on and so forth. So on that routing table, I want to ask a quick question. On that routing layer now, what protocol is there? Or what table, sorry, what table it's on that routing layer? Quick question. I've talked about it already. Just want to refresh. What table? We have the MAC address table. There are 2. There are 3. What table is there? We have the ARP table. The ARP table, it's what's on the routing table or the network table. The address resolution protocol, where your MAC address is mapped to an IP address, which helps in routing of information or routing of traffic on the network. Is it clear? Right. So moving on, the routing basics. Our router decides He said the router looks at its routing table, right, to decide where a packet should go next. Like, we have a routing table here, use the ROP table. This is your routing table, which is layer 3. We call it layer 3. Right? Here we have your MAC address and also IP address. So here we have, let me say MAC address is this. And the IP address here. So 1.10. I have under IP, MAC address here, we have under IP address 1.12 into 16, for instance, right? And I want to send information from here to here. The router help me decide where this route traffic is going to. Is it clear? Using the routing table. Okay, on this table now, this is who I'm sending this information to. This is the system I'm sending this traffic to. Is it clear? So I said the routing table example, destination, the next hoop, and where I'm sending it next. And this is the IP address, direct, it goes to the other IP, down till it gets to 1. Gets to the default IP, right? Then static and dynamic. Static is manually assigning IP addresses to system. Dynamic is automatic. Is it clear? If you see DHCP, it's automatic, and you see static, it's manually assigning IP addresses to the system. Now I set up my local area network now. I say, okay, this system, this is your IP. Instead of giving it a DHCP server that automatically assigns, I give it an IP address myself. Is it clear? All right, so you say static is simple, manual, and predictable. Dynamic, routers learn routes automatically, better for large and changing networks. Is it clear? All right. Then VLAN. So VLAN is your virtual local area network. Like I said, the local area network is used for in your homes, your offices, smaller buildings, small organizations. Right. The V is virtual. Yes, this is it. So this is the VLAN. It's a virtual local area network. Right? So VLAN is breaking down networks into smaller networks within a network. Like this way now, inside one network, I have other networks, small networks for different departments. That means I have a large organization, I have different departments. I have the accounting department, HRO, IT, and I break this network into smaller networks just for these departments so they can communicate within themselves. Is it clear? That's how the VLAN works. So you say, what is a VLAN and why segment? So a VLAN logically separates devices on the same physical switch. One switch, many logical networks. Right? So you say example, VLAN 10, IT, which is one of the VLAN, IT. VLAN 20, HRO, different departments. VLAN 30, finance, different departments. VLAN 40, different departments. Breaking it into a smaller networks. Right? You say why it matters to security. Without segmentation, everyone shares one network. I mean, if the network is not broken down into smaller network, everybody is using one network. I mean, if I get access, an attacker get access to one system on the network, it's possible he will get access to other systems on the network. But when it's broken down into smaller networks, it will be difficult for lateral movement. Like how can I just move from one department now? Okay, from IT department now, it's going to HR. They are separated. Is it clear? Then it said with VLAN, segmentation limits unnecessary communication. Unnecessary communication, that's what it means now. the IT department now, they cannot just communicate with the IT department or the HR department because they are on two different VLANs. Just the HR department can communicate within themselves on one network, right? But they can't communicate with each other because unnecessary communication or access to resources. Is it clear? Yes, gives you just within. Okay, this is accounting department now. No, it's not. It does not give you access. It separates everybody. These people here, your accounting department now. These people is HR, right? This person here, your HR. This is accounting department. You're on one network. But when a VLAN is created, you guys can just communicate within yourself. These people can communicate within themselves, but you can't just communicate with each other. Is it clear? All right. Then firewalls and access controls. We're going down to the defensive part now. So firewalls, like I said, the firewall monitors traffics, incoming and outgoing of traffics with predefined rules. There are rules that say, okay, this is what you filter, this is what you allow, this is what you deny. Is it clear? Then access control is controlling system or users, what they can access on the network, resources they can access on the network, creating a list, an access control list, for instance, and say, okay, this is what this device can access on this network. These are the resources this particular device can access on the network. Is it clear? So you say, what's a firewall? A firewall controls network traffic according to defined security rules. Every packet is evaluated against policies. The basic decision, a traffic, the firewall, it allows or it denies, right? Then the rule may consider the source or destination's IP. The source, destination ports, protocol or application. So these are what you configure on the firewall. Okay, source IP, destination IP. Okay, this is what is going out from this system to outside, or this is what is coming, the IP address coming in. Block this IP address or allow this IP address, or allow these ports to be accessed or block these ports. Remember when accessing these ports, is it clear? Allow this application to be accessed or deny this application altogether, right? Then firewall types and access control. We have the stateless firewall. So it examines individuals' packets in isolation. Packets that have been on one place, that's what it examines, a stateless firewall. Packet that is not transmitted. Is it clear? Then stateful, say tracks connection, clients between server, which is connection established, then server between client response allowed. Right? So you say routers use similar rules. Rule list called ACL, which is access control lists. Right? Is that modern next gen firewall, which is NGFW, add application awareness, intrusion prevention, and threat intelligence on top of basic filtering. This new generation firewall, what they do, they add IDS, IPS to it to prevent intrusion. Is it clear? We talked about IPS before now. And the next thing we'll talk about now is the common network attacks. All right? The common network attacks now, I think I've mentioned one before, ARP spoofing. Pretending to be sending ARP requests to the network, fake ARP requests, pretending to be a system on the network, or MAC spoofing, pretending to be a MAC address on the network, so I can intercept and also collect information, steal information on the network, intercept traffics. Is it clear? So we're talking about most of the attacks. So why attackers target networks? Networks expose information about hosts, services, users, and infrastructure. The attack chain, reconnaissance, which is getting information, then initial access, getting access to the network, then execution, trying to exploit the system, installation, and all that. Then persistence, then lateral movement, moving from one place to another. Then exploitation, stealing data, removing data, right? Then scanning, is a port scanning identifies accessible services. I think I've talked about it before. When I scan the network, and I find out open ports on the network. As an attacker, it's part of reconnaissance. Carry out my scan to see, okay, which system has an open port. And I'll try to exploit that port on that system. Is it clear? Then it said reviews entry point and leaves fingerprint. Meaning if I scan the network now and I find the port, I try getting it. My fingerprints are there. That I tried accessing that port. All together. Any question? Question? All right, so and MAC flooding. Internet attacker overwhelms the switch MAC table with fake addresses, forcing it to flood frames to every port. What an attacker does here now, the MAC address table floods it with so lot of addresses. So you know you have a cup and you fill it with so much water, what does it do? It overflows. So it floods with so much MAC addresses, so it will be able to intercept the network altogether. So he said defense, port security, meaning rights to disable every open port on that system, unless the port service is useful and has security. Every port that does not have security or it's not useful, what do? You close the port or you disable the port. Altogether. Then ARP spoofing. He said the attacker sends false ARP info or traffic. The victim believes the attacker MAC address belongs to the router. The attacker now floods it with the router floods it with so lot of ARP requests or info. So it pretends that it's okay, I'm one of this system on the network. So whatever traffic that is supposed to go to that system that comes to the attacker. So he said the attack path for this particular attack now. He said the victim, the attacker, and to the router. Traffic is intercepted in the middle. So the attacker just stays in between to collect these traffics. Then defenses, dynamic ARP inspection, which is automatically inspects ARP requests or ARP info. Then static ARP where appropriate, like manually assigning MAC address to an IP address, mapping it together. Then network segmentation, breaking down the network into smaller network. And also encryption, converting plain text, meaning every text, every traffic is encrypted, converting it into something unreadable. In case an attacker intercepts and get access to this data, it won't be readable. It will be useless. Altogether. Right. Then another attack we have there is denial of service, meaning denying users of having access to the network. I think we talked about this before. We talked about distributed denial of service and also denial of service. Here's the DOS. He said the object is to make a service unavailable by overwhelming. What the attacker does is that it floods the entire network with traffic and it becomes unavailable for a user altogether. Then common floods, SYN floods, we have UDP floods, we have ICMP floods, and application layer floods. All these are kind of traffic it floods the network with to prevent users or clients to access that particular network or make it unavailable. Is it clear? All right. Then detecting attacks. How do you detect these attacks? Using security tools like IDS and IPS, intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system. So you say the IDS, which helps you detect, say monitors traffic and flags suspicious activity. Then the traffic comes through the IDS, it alerts you. This is a malicious activity. You say it does not block, unlike the firewall you're using, blocking or denying. The IDS does not block. What it does, it just detects an intrusion, detects and gives you alerts. Right? Then the IPS, it says it sits in line, it spares traffic. The traffic goes to the IPS now, it allows and it blocks. Meaning incline equals to prevention. Right? After, so the IPS prevents question.
If the idea is detects, then let's say this scenario, IDS detect. Then how do you
IPS.
send to IPS?
No, you're having both tools on your network. There are two different tools. One is for detection, one is for prevention. So if you have an IPS, if you don't have an IPS, meaning it will not block it, it will just detect it. But if you have an IPS, meaning it will prevent it, after it has detected it, it will prevent it for you automatically. Okay. Any other question? Intrusion detection system. IPS is intrusion prevention system. One detects, one prevents. And the next, still under detection now, we're talking about signature and versus anomaly detection. So we said detecting attacks starts with knowing what's normal on the network, monitoring answers what happens, who's talking, is this normal? So signature could be normal, while anomaly is abnormal. One is normal, one is abnormal. A normal could be a successful login. When you successfully log into your system, it's a normal thing, right? But what about failed attempts? You go through your analysis or system, trying to try multiple passwords to get access to your system. That is abnormal altogether. So that's the difference. Signature detection, say, looks for known patterns, known malicious patterns, then it alerts you. So this signature detection now, it looks for something that it knows. It alerts you. Something that does not know also alerts you. It looks for deviation from normal. Normal, 10 DNS per hour. Observe 10,000 DNS per hour. You can see the difference. One is not normal, one is normal. Is it clear? So abnormality detection is detecting something that is not normal. Is it clear? Signature, yes. Signature is, I know this thing. This is how it's supposed to be. Then if it's not like that, I will still tell you that it's not like that. Is it clear? Well, abnormality detection is something that is abnormal, that is not supposed to happen. Like for instance, you have systems on the network. Your printer, it's supposed to use FTP, which is file transfer protocol, and it's using HTTP for communication. It's abnormal, right? That's anomaly detection. So the next one we'll talk about traffic analysis and Wireshark. Traffic analysis is trying to analyze packets on the network which is being transmitted. Do analysis to check the source and the destination to see, okay, what kind of packets, what kind of data is being sent. Is it clear? So you say, what is packet analysis? So packet analysis examines network traffic, the source, destination, protocol, port, flags, payload, and timing to understand communication. So tools like Wireshark actually helps you do this packet capture, this analysis. So I think we're going to drop an instruction on the group later on how to install the Wireshark. It's one of the tools we're going to use for this next week Monday, right? Our next class. So you see Wireshark captures and inspects packets. The common filters, we have the ARP, which is Address Response Protocol, DNS, ICMP. ICMP is Internet Control Message Protocol. And we have TCP, HTTP, IP address, 192 and all that. So this is what you filter, like a common filter. Is it clear? All right? And stream, following a TCP stream. So a TCP stream reconstructs a conversational as one continuous session for more useful than reading individual packets. See why it matters? Extremely useful during incident investigation. This is trying to follow a communication between two systems altogether. So what it does now, you're trying to investigate, okay, what's going on between this system, follow the source IP and the destination, bring the destination back to the source. To say, okay, what kind of packet is going on through this TCP stream? So when we get the Wireshark, we're able to explain this. We'll drop an instruction later on for this. Then encryptions and VPNs, I guess this is the last part of this, and we'll do a little practical before the end of the class. Right? Do a little like we did the last time. So encryption. What's encryption?
Turning plain text into ciphertext.
Ciphertext. Thank you very much. So encryption is converting a plain text into a ciphertext, which is unreadable text, something an attacker cannot read. What about VPNs? Anybody?
Virtual private networks.
What does it do?
You basically you make sure your connection or something, your session can be secure. Like you can tunnel it through like a secure.
Thank you. It creates a secure tunnel. Yeah, it's a protection. Now I want to connect to the network now. What I do, I use a VPN. A VPN secures me so that whoever is out there cannot see whatever I'm doing. It gives me a protection. It gives me like a bodyguard.
Like an angel.
Like an angel that protects you. So it's like a tunnel. Okay, you've seen movies where you see a train, pass through a tunnel. The tunnel covers who is in it. That's how a VPN works. It gives you protection.
Like in this scenario that I use VPN apps, you see them putting places of other countries.
They're putting what?
Let me see them something about different countries.
Something about different countries.
VPN, they're showing different countries.
Those are proxies, not VPN. They are proxies. You're getting access to. Yes, there are added features on that applications you are using. Proxy has like intermediaries, as server somewhere, like your computer somewhere you connect to carry out whatever you want to do. It's an additional feature on those VPN applications and all that. Okay? So he said, why encrypt network traffic? So without encryption, an attacker on the path can read intercepted data. So if an attacker carries out a man-in-the-middle attack, for instance, and captures those data or gets access to those data, if it's not encrypted, you can see whatever is there. But if it's encrypted, it's very difficult. Unless the attacker has a decryption key, where I know it's very difficult. He can't even get the key to decrypt that information. Yeah. So he said 3 core properties of encryption. We have confidentiality, which prevents disclosure. Integrity prevents modification, meaning it cannot be altered. Then authentication, verify identity. When you get access to these resources, you have to verify your identity. You put in a password, a user, or biometrics, fingerprint, and all that. Is it clear? All right. Then next we'll talk about is hashing versus encryption. Like I said, hashing is one-way cryptographic function. It's a one-way cryptographic transmission. The other day I used juice as an example. If you turn an apple into a juice, you can't turn the juice into an apple. That's a perfect example of hashing. Right? All together. All right. So it said hashing, one-way transformation. It's used for integrity and password verification. So data, this is an hash function. Once data is being passed through the hash function now, it becomes what we call an hash, which is those strings of values. Is it clear? Then encryption is reversible with the key, right? The key, encryption has 2 types. We have what we call symmetric and asymmetric, right? The symmetric uses a single key for both encryption and decryption. Asymmetric uses 2 keys, public key for encryption and a private key for decryption. So without those keys now, you won't be able to decrypt or see any information that is being encrypted.
So how would we define hashing? What would you say hashing is?
Hashing, just a one-way transformation of data. Just is that simple, yes, transformation of data into strings of figures, just for integrity. Is it clear? Then he said encryption is used for confidentiality and secure communication. Then last thing we'll talk about is the TLS. TLS stands for Transport Layer Security. TLS, Transport Layer Security. So before TLS, yeah, there was SSL. SSL, secure socket layer, right? When you're carrying out an HTTP communication, this is what protects you. Is it clear? On the web, if you see HTTPS, meaning you have this security. These are security guards. They help you encrypt traffic. Is it clear? That's why you see it here. You say TLS equals to HTTP plus security. That means HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, secured. So once you see HTTPS, now you know, okay, this is what I'm using for security. This was what was used before this came in. Is it clear? So it said TLS protects network communication. HTTPS is HTTP plus TLS. The TLS provides encryption, integrity, server authentication. Why HTTPS beats HTTP? Okay. Because of security, that's why HTTPS has power over HTTP. Because if you have TLS now on the web now, it protects every communication, any data you're trying to transverse on that network.
So TLS has more security.
TLS has more security. It protects you, right? And VPNs, which is encrypted tunnels, which I just explained. It says a VPN creates a protected communication channel across an untrusted network. I want to communicate on, okay, I think 2020, when Nigeria here, we're from visiting Twitter. What do? Get VPN. So it protects the internet service provider from seeing what, because all the internet provider, they were all notified that nobody in Nigeria should access Twitter. What you do now, you get a VPN, you connect. Those internet service providers, they don't see what you're doing at that moment you're using that VPN services. Is it clear? So it says site to site, a LAN A VPN gateway, encrypted tunnel, VPN gateway gets to LAN B. It's a common technology that is used, is called the IP security. A remote access, employee, internet, VPN gateway, corporate network, lets one device securely reach the organization from anywhere. For those that does remote jobs, for instance, use a VPN to connect to an organization's network. Is it clear? All right. Any question on that? Or how it all fits together, networking. It only consists of internet, MAC address, routing, TCP, UDP, and ports, services, like common services, DNS, HTTP, SSH, DHCP, and security, we have the firewall, we have IDS, we have IPS, we have VPN. Then for analysis, we have Wireshark, we have the SOC or the SIM, and investigation, alert, evidence, root cause, and respond. Right. So you say understand communication, protocols, infrastructure, attack defenses, analyze the evidence. This is exactly the foundation SOC analysts use every day to triage alerts and triage alerts and investigate incidents. So these are the processes SOC analysts we use to investigate an incidents. Any question before I move? Questions? Questions? Okay. So we're going to touch some little things. Comment. So most of these hands-on, we're going to take it during our next class. Just give me a minute. Okay. So this material is dropped on the platform already. So you said what you need a Wireshark installed on your system. For those of us that have our system with us, so it will be dropped on the platform. So you install it before Monday, and so we'll do some little practical on it. So let's see. I think there's some things we can do here. All right. So there are some commands we can just try on our Windows system. So I can use our command prompt or CLI. We talked about command line interface the other day. What was command line interface used for? It's like this.
Like the language.
A language to do what? Command line interface. What is it used for?
Talk to your laptop language. You can just use it for navigation.
Navigation of what?
The whole system.
Thank you. It's used to navigate your system or interact with your system. So use our command prompt. So let's try some of this.
Which was this word you used once that said allows you to talk to your system.
Interact
With
your system.
You use,
and terminal. Yeah, it's called a terminal also.
So terminal is the same thing as TC.
CLL, command line interface. So let's use our command prompt, this. So search CMD. So the first one there is said A1 IP config all. So this shows you your IP address, MAC address, and all that. IP config. All right. So when I come here now, I see I'm connected to local area network through my Wi-Fi. This is my description, whatever. DHCP, you can see is enabled, meaning I can automatically be assigned an IP address on this network. If I come down now, I see link local IPv6 address. Look at my IPv6 address here. You can see this physical address now, it's my system's MAC address. Is it clear? I'll be talking about MAC address now. You can see my physical address is my system's MAC address. Then IPv4, this is my IPv4 address, this is my subnet mask. So what class, not sure, I know you know this one. What to you? What class of IP is this? I don't know, I'm asking. Yes.
Not
COB is one.
C.
Class C, thank you. So then, this obtained blah 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 as a date, and this expires at this. So the IP address is not permanent; it expires. You can see it's on lease, right? Then default gateway. You can see the default gateway IP address, which is on the router. Is it clear? So every system connected to these Wi-Fi I'm connected to now, we have this same default gateway. The only thing that will change is the host address. You can see my own host address here is .40, right? My v4 .40, and that system connected to this same network will be 41, 42, 43, 44, so it gets to 255, right? Then default gateway DHCP server is there. So these are the necessary information you need about addressing. So let's see what other. Then we have that command called ping. Ping is used to check for connectivity of system on a network, or to see if a system or a platform is active on a network. Is it clear? You want to see a system that, okay, this system, I can communicate with it. I use ping to confirm. So that ping now sends an ICMP request. So what I do now, let me just try Google, use Google for instance. Are you ping space Google com enter. Okay, see now, you see this reply from this particular IP down with time. These are ICMP requests, Internet Control Message Protocol. It's a protocol that tells me, okay, this system is active or there's an error. If there's an error, it will let me know. But you see now, I sent 4 packets, right? And I received 4, telling me a total of 0 loss, meaning that this system is active. I can communicate with Google. Is it clear? All right. So then there's another one called NSLOOKUP under command. Lookup. It's used to query the DNS of a platform. So let's use Google, NSLOOKUP google.com. Right. Show the request timeout. Okay. This is what I want. What I did now, I did a request on Google's DNS to get Google's IP address. If you notice, when I did ping.google.com, see the IP address I communicated with. It's the same thing here. Is it clear? You can see the same IP address when I queried the DNS. All right? Then, shut up, run. So most of the other things, we're going to use Packet Tracer for it. I think that will be on Monday. So let's see if there's other commands I can run here. For listening. So any question, any other question, any question? Question?
So Monday is going to be practical, right?
Yes, we'll do more of practical.
Does my wire sharp as the rhythm?
No, not still Linux in your system.
So we can't run it on Kali.
You can. Kali has its own installed Wireshark. You don't need to download or install. Yeah, you can if you want.
Because I already have the system. I don't use the one in Kali.
And that's the one we'll use on Monday. So if you have to write, there's not an issue, right? So I'm coming.
So all this prompt really is on the group, right?
Yeah, I'll send the material on the group so it's there. And you install the Wireshark, we'll use it on Monday. Then all of this, all the assignments are there.
So now also for us to go back to the first one you did, for us to understand clearly.
Yes. So see what I did now? I did an ARP, like an ARP scan to see devices that are mapped with IP addresses here. You can see on the dynamic now, if you see the IP address now, is the gateway IP address that is showing there. You can see the MAC address for that gateway IP. So let's go down, let's see if I can find my IP address here or any other IP. So with time, but by Monday, so we'll end here today. By Monday, we'll get our system by Monday. Install the Wireshark. The instruction is posted on the group already. No, and that assignment will be passed on in the group. You did the last assignment, right? You've not done my assignment. Yes. Did you do my assignment? Eh? You are fired. Have they added you to your group?
No, I just saw the link right now.
Okay, you've joined now. Okay. So that means you've missed my first assignment. We're going to drop. Yes, we'll be taking another assignment. You're on the group, right? Yes. Okay, there's a link pinned The classroom, Google Classroom. Click on it. The assignments are there.